author. I've stood on stages in 30 plus countries, been translated into over 40 different languages. And why is that important? Hell, I don't know. I think it's important because it's a good reason to decide you want more of what you want, less of what you don't. And I've been able to do that. Where did my, that's YouTube. Oh, this is the one over here. There it is. It looks a lot like YouTube. That's why I moved it away. So, good morning. Today's conversation is continuation of Think and Grow Rich, imagination. So, good morning, good morning, good morning. Oh, we weren't live on Instagram. We're live now. So we finished up with the creative imagination works automatically in the manner described in subsequent pages. This faculty functions only when the conscious mind is vibrating at an exceedingly rapid rate. That we spent a lot of time talking about that. Exceedingly rapid rate. When the conscious mind is stimulated through a motion of strong desire. A lot of times we have a strong desire for the things we don't want. Does that make sense? We have a strong desire for the things we don't want. Oh, I don't want that. I don't want to be behind. I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be fill in the blank. The universe doesn't hear that. What it does is it operates and it acts on the vibration that you're putting forth to it. Keep in mind, as you follow, the creative faculty becomes more alert, more receptive to vibrations from the sources mentioned in proportion to its development through use. This statement is significant. Ponder over this before passing on. Keep in mind as you follow these principles as the entire story of how one may convert desire into money cannot be told in one statement. The story will be completed only when one has mastered, assimilated, and begun to make use of all of these principles. You know how some people get lucky and they wind up with all of their money? They get lucky. Do you know how some people make their money and then lose it? That's because you've stopped following the principles. It's really that basic. It's really that simple. I don't want it to be that simple, but yet I do. Einstein said, make everything as simple as possible, not simpler. I think a lot of times we spend an inordinate amount of time looking to simplify things, and I don't know how you're going to get there until you wind up mastering all these principles. The great leaders of business, industry, finance, and the greatest artists, musicians, writers, poets became great because they developed the faculty of creative imagination. Let me ask you this. How many, even in your business, even in your particular niche, whatever your niche is, wellness world, traditional business world, traditional sales world, network marketing, whatever your business is, whatever your income comes in through. Here's my question. How many people have you interviewed, not followed, not listened to, not watched on Instagram, interviewed, had a conversation directly with them and asked them their philosophy, their strategy, their ability to maintain state to create their wealth? You know what the number is, surprisingly? 0. Do you know how many people actually do the work, actually ask the questions, go out and survey? Napoleon Hill did it with 500 of the richest men. I'm sure there were some women in there too. It wasn't a time where that wasn't as commendable, as noteworthy, right? They found out their biggest failures. How many of you have ever asked somebody, what's your biggest failure? Just saying, something to think about. Read in, so I'm skipping around now. So desire is only a thought, an impulse. Desire is only a thought and impulse. It is nebulous and inferior. It is abstract and of no value until it has been transformed into its physical counterpart. Desire is only a thought that has no value until, Jim Rohn's favorite word, until it has been transformed into its physical counterpart. While the synthetic imagination is the one which we will use most frequently, it is the process of transforming the impulse of desire into money you must keep in mind, in fact, that you may face circumstances or situations which demand the use of creative imagination as well. Center your attention for the time being on the development of the synthetic imagination, because this is the faculty you will use more often in the process of converting desire into money. Transformation of the intangible impulse of desire into the tangible reality of money calls for the use of a plan or plans. These plans must be formed with the aid of imagination and mainly with the synthetic faculty. Read the entire book through, then come back to this chapter and begin at once to put your imagination to work on building of a plan or plans for the transformation of the desire into money. I have this underlined, detailed instructions for the building of plans has been given in almost every chapter. Carry out the instructions best suited to your needs. Reduce your plan to writing, if you have not already done so. The moment you complete this is asterisk, underlined, and circled. The moment you complete this, you will have definitely given concrete form to the intangible desire. See, that's why you can't have it. That's why you struggle with it, because you don't have it written out. You're not futuring your thoughts. You're not futuring your ideas. Does that make sense? When you understand, when you grasp the importance and the significance of writing down your goal, writing down your desire. See, if you say, I want to be the next rank in my business, I want to be 3 ranks up in my business, I want to be grand poobah in my business, that is a goal. That is not a desire. Why do you want to become 3 ranks up? Why do you want to be at that income level? Grasp it? Read the preceding sentence one more. Read the preceding sentence once more. Here's the preceding sentence. The moment you complete this, reducing your plan to writing, you will have definitely given concrete form to the intangible desire. Read it aloud very slowly. And as you do so, remember that the moment you reduce your statement of your desire and the plan for its realization to writing, you have actually taken the first step. The first in a series of steps, which will enable you to convert your thought into its physical counterpart. How many of us have ever wanted to help somebody, move them forward, and give them a chance to have more of what they want, less of what they don't? And they wanted to start at step 3. They wanted to start at step 3, and you can't get to 3 unless you start at 1. This is the challenge I have most when mentoring people, is they won't start at step 1. It's boring. It's coming to grips with your own reality. If it's boring to write down your dreams, to write down your desire, to not spend every waking moment to figure out how to write your DMP, your definite major purpose, Jim Rohn would say that's a clue. That's a big clue of why you struggle. The earth on which you live, you, yourself, and every other material thing are a result of the evolutionary change through which microscopic bits of matter have been organized and arranged into orderly fashion. Moreover, and this statement is of stupendous importance, this earth and every one of the billions of individual cells in your body and every atom of matter begins as an intangible form of energy. Do you get that? If you were to take, if you were to say, I don't have a ball here because Beamish takes them all. If you were to say that this, I don't know, where is it? um, the cap of this. If you were to say that's an atom, right? This is an atom. It's got nucleus. It's got electrons and protons and croutons and all that stuff in there, right? If you were to say this is an atom, if we were to take the stuff of this atom, the physical stuff of this atom, it makes up 2% of this whole area. 2%, a little tiny area right there, about that much. If we were able to put the electrons and the protons and the nuclei all into one area, it would only make up 2%. Now, I'm fairly decent at math. What's the remaining part of the stuff in here? How much nothingness is in here? If 2% is stuff, somebody type it in the chat. If 2% is stuff, how much is not in here? How much is the nothingness? And yet everything, every atom that exists in your body, every atom that exists in the world, every atom that exists everywhere is 2% something and 98% nothing. So if it's 98% nothing and you're focusing on the something, do you realize you are mathematically being leveraged against by the 98% of nothingness? It's where the nothingness, it's from the nothingness that the something is created. And we spend all of our time on the something. Does that make sense? So how do you get to focus on the nothingness? This is where meditation, writing out sending your vibration into the ether, right? What you think about, you bring about. The law of attraction. It's not about doing certain things. It's about doing things in a certain way. Wallace D. Wattles, Wayne Dyer, change the way you look at things. The things you look at change. Where was I at? Desire is a thought impulse. Thought impulses are forms of energy. And when you begin, moreover, this statement is of stupendous importance. The earth and every one of the billions of individual cells in your bodies and every atom of matter begins as an intangible form of energy. As far as science has been able to determine, the entire universe consists of but two elements, matter and energy. That's what every atom is made out of. Something and energy. Isn't that interesting? So, you can build a fortune through the aid of laws which are immutable. Yet first, you must become familiar with these laws and learn them. Through repetition and by approaching the description of the principles of every conceivable angle, the author hopes to reveal to you the secret through which every great fortune has been accumulated. Strange and paradoxical as it may seem, the secret is not a secret. Nature herself advertises it in the earth on which we live, the stars, the planets suspended within our view, in the elements above and around us, in every blade of grass, and every form of life within vision. Nature advertises the secret in the terms of biology and in the conversion of a tiny cell so small that it may be lost on the point of a pin into a human being now reading this line. Kind of awesome stuff, isn't it? For those of you on Instagram joining us, we're reading Think and Grow Rich, but we're doing a deep dive into it. What's the message behind the sentence? Do not become discouraged if you fully comprehend all that has been stated. Unless you have long been a student of the mind, it is not to be expected that you will assimilate all this. Hey, Mau. All of this, it is not expected that you will assimilate this all in this chapter upon the first reading. That makes sense. Yet you will, in time, make good progress. The principles which follow will open the way for understanding of imagination. Assimilate that which you understand as you read this philosophy for the first time. Then, when you reread it, study it. You will discover that something has happened to clarify it and give you a broader understanding of the whole. Above all, do not stop nor hesitate in your study of these principles until you have read the book at least 3 times. 3 times. for then you will not want to stop. Bob Proctor used to say, do the thing until you don't have to do the thing. We're going to end right there. Powerful stuff. So what we've talked about, chapter 6, imagination. And in understanding this, what we find is that we all have imagination. We all have the ability to imagine. We don't use it because it takes effort. And the brain requires energy. The brain consumes 20%, 20% of your body's resources. All of its water, all of its energy, all of its carbs, all of its 2%. And it's a very specific amount of energy or criteria that energy can be used to cross the blood-brain barrier. So when you start thinking and you're like, oh, my head hurts. I'm thinking my head hurts. Ugh. That is your brain needing some resources. That is your brain needing some fuel. That is your brain creating new neural networks. And when your brain creates new neural networks, it creates a whole new facility. In self-talk, we talk about neural pruning. What if, think about this for just a second. What if you could go in, what if you could take a pill and you could go in and you could take this pill and it would instantly recognize all your negative, all your less than, all your not worthy, all of your, who is that? Is that Beamish? It would take in take a look at all of the negative, all of the fears, all of the doubts. And if you took that pill, it would get rid of all of those fears, all of those doubts. What would happen in your life? Literally. What do you think would happen if all of a sudden you were able to take a pill? I was able to say, okay, here you go. Take this. There you go. There's one right there. Not a limitless pill. Not something that makes you aware. Something that just got rid of your fears. Your fears, your old story about the way you see yourself, your story about how you see success, your relationship with money. What if it took away all of those negative fears? What would change? Seriously, I want you to think about that, because right now you can literally take that pill. It's called the daily work of writing your goals out. It's called the daily work of rewiring your brain. Your brain only operates in fear because you still believe those things are true. You still have a frequency that when you think about them, they cause you to feel a certain way. You have thoughts, feelings, actions, results. And many of us aren't even aware of our thoughts. Imagination allows you to put your body into a different frequency of future potential, as opposed to saying, trying to take yesterday. Can you wake up yesterday earlier than you did? Could you go back? Could you wake up earlier yesterday? A lot of people I know want to get up earlier. A lot of people I know want to hydrate more. A lot of people I know want to walk more. A lot of people I know want to do a lot of things. And let me ask you, can you go back and do any of those things perfectly, 100% perfectly? Can you go back and do those things to the best of your ability yesterday? Some of these questions hurt your brain. I know they hurt mine when I ask them sometimes. So if you can't go back and change anything about yesterday, where can you change anything? From this moment and this moment and this moment to all of your future moments. That's what this book is asking you to do. Don't look at your past, look at your future. Don't tell me where you've been, tell me where you're going. That's my conversation for you this morning on chapter 6, imagination inside of Think and Grow Rich. So, hey, listen, where am I at? YouTube, I appreciate you. I hope you have an amazing, fun-filled day. I'll see you where?